The river swallowed secrets, but it spat out the truth. Rain fractured the surface of the Hawthorne River the day we laid my sister Clara to rest. I clutched the crumpled eulogy as my father, William Hargrove, a man who'd built an empire on steel and silence, veered from the mourner's path toward the water's edge. In his hands, a small cedar box, tied with a linen ribbon, gleamed like a confession. My mother, Eleanor, lingered behind, her face carved hollow, her hands twisting a scarf into knots. Dad didn't glance my way. He knelt, set the box in the current, and let it go. My pulse stuttered. A faint sound, high, brittle, alive, slipped from the box as it bobbed. I sprinted, mud sucking at my boots, breath jagged. "Please be nothing," I begged, clawing the box from the reeds. The lid was sealed tight. I jammed my house key under the edge and pried. When it gave way, the sky split open with it.
"I'm Abigail Hargrove."
In Crestwood, the Hargrove name was a monument, polished, unyielding. My father's company, Hargrove Logistics, turned his whispers into law. He raised me on 3 truths: guard the family, shield the legacy, and bury anything that threatens either. Clara was the exception. She was wildfire in a house of frost, with auburn curls, eyes like summer lakes, and paint smudges on her sleeves. When she brought home Noah Tate, a carpenter with calloused hands and a grin that softened our cold dining room, Dad's courtesy sharpened to a blade. "Plans?" he asked over seared salmon. "Love," Clara said. "I'm choosing love." Dad turned to me later, voice low. "Love doesn't pay for chandeliers." It could, I thought, but didn't say. He didn't want to hear it. He tightened the leash, curfews, questions, concern that felt like chains. Mom hovered, rearranging silverware, swallowing words. When Clara whispered she was pregnant, her hands trembled so much I draped her in my quilt and brewed chamomile tea. "Noah's taking extra shifts," she said, eyes bright. The baby moved. Yesterday, like she was dancing. I pressed my hand to her stomach and felt a spark of wonder. But I knew, like a storm's coming, this would tear us apart. It did. In hushed arguments, locked doors, Dad's voice slicing through options that drained Clara's light. She fled. Then the hospital called, complications, Clara gone. The obituary hit my email before dawn, a press release with her name. At the funeral, Dad walked to the river with that box. I cracked it open and found a newborn, swaddled in muslin, lips faintly blue, a hospital band reading Baby Girl Tate. A whimper caught the air. "Clara," I gasped, stripping off my jacket to wrap her tighter. She was warm, barely. I cradled her, heart pounding. Dad's voice scraped behind me. "Give her to me, Abigail."
"Spoon."
"You threw her in the river." His eyes flickered. "You don't understand." "Explain it." He stared at the water, reeds trembling. The paperwork, the scandal. Her choices left a mess. "A child," I said. Mom's voice broke through. "William, stop."
"He didn't."
"We can fix this."
"Fix."
I held the baby closer. "She's not a liability." I ran to my car, Mom stepping aside, eyes down. Dad stood rooted, face like a balance sheet. I drove to St. Mary's ER, where a nurse with steady hands took one look and yelled for a doctor. "Found her by the river," I said, voice clipped. She nodded, no questions. "You saved her," she said. "She saved me," I replied and meant it. They named her baby Hargrove, because I claimed her fast. In the waiting room, coffee soaking my sleeve, the doctor said, "Hypothermia, but she's fighting." "She's Clara's," I whispered. I named her Lila, for the light Clara chased. I signed foster forms with hands that shook like they never had in boardrooms. Dad appeared on day 2, his SUV idling like a threat. "Enough, Abigail. Hand her over. I'll manage the arrangements." "Like you managed the river?" I said, Lila against my shoulder. His jaw tightened. "This is about legacy." "No," I said. "It's about her." He left, but not before warning. "You'll regret this defiance." I already regretted every moment I hadn't fought him sooner. I called Noah. His voice cracked when I told him. They tried to erase my daughter. She's alive, I said. St. Mary's. She's perfect. He arrived, eyes red, and pressed his hand to the isolette. Lila, he whispered. You're my miracle. We planned guardianship petitions, hospital records, a log of Dad's calls, and veiled offers. Dad sent orchids with a note. For your generosity. Mom texted at 3 a.m. I'm sorry, Abigail. I failed her. The custody hearing was in Crestwood Stone Courthouse. Judge Evelyn Holt read our file, her pen tapping like a clock. Dad's lawyer spun a tale of grief-driven mistakes. The Hargroves will provide for the child. Judge Holt's eyes narrowed. Abigail, evidence? I presented the dashcam footage, Dad and Mom by the river, box in hand, returning empty-handed. The bracelet had Clara's name, I said. Dad's laugh was hollow. A box proves nothing. Then why was Lila inside? Silence. Judge Holt ruled. Joint custody to Noah and me, supervised visits for my parents, counseling mandatory. Dad's face was stone. Mom mouthed, thank you. Later, by the river, Dad stood alone. You always challenged me, he said. I should have known. Someone had to, I replied. He admitted the box haunted him. You can change, I said. He started counseling the next week. Noah and I raised Lila, her eyes Clara's blue. Mom brought Clara's half-painted canvas, saying she should know her mother's light. Dad funded a scholarship for artists, then one for kids like Lila. Sundays, we took her to the park, telling her about Clara's sunrises. At night, I wrote to Clara. We kept her. We're learning to live. By spring, we returned to the river, flowers in hand. Dad apologized to Lila, voice soft. The water sang, and Lila's tiny hand reached for the sky, rewriting us all.